Hello, magical people. Welcome to another episode of As Above, So Below here on Beyond Mystic. My name is Meg Moonbeam, and I'm very happy to be here with my co-host, Ashala. Hello, Ashala. How are you doing?
Hello, Meg. So delighted to be here. Really feeling in solidarity with all of us. It feels like we're just holding arms around each other at this time.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of intense things going on as we're going to get into in today's show. And we want to mention to you guys that next week, because Ashala is moving, there's a few things going on in our personal lives. We won't have a show next Tuesday, but we'll be back the Tuesday after. And I see here I've got the wrong poster up here. It says September 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're bending time. We're live right now on Tuesday, October 8th. So next Tuesday, which let me just bring that up to show you guys, the 15th, we will not have a show. So we will see you the next Tuesday, which is the 22nd. So before we get into our show's content, as always, you guys, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic YouTube and Rumble channels. And if you'd like to have a personal reading with myself or Ashala, those are available over at consultations.beyondmystic.net. And Ashala does amazing psycho. Oh my God, I said that word last week.
It's a funny combo of words, right? Psychotaro. Yeah. But it's like psychological, there's a lot of, we do deep psychology in these sessions. So it is kind of
psychoanalytical.
Psychoanalytical, that's it, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So that's available over at consultations.beyondmystic.net. And we also want to mention Carla at Ascension Organites has these beautiful new tarot card natural candles available on her website, and you can use promo code Beyond Mystic, all in one word, to get 10% off. Don't they look absolutely beautiful?
They are beautiful. I want one.
Me too. I want one. For sure. So, oh my goodness. I feel like there's a lot to go over in today's show. As you guys have seen, I think this might be our fourth edition, our fourth so far.
I think it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, we're about a month in, and we love to combine the tarot with the astrology. As above, so below. Look at the astrology, share what we're getting intuitively in terms of whatever themes are going on. And first of all, before we get into anything specific, Ashala, how are you feeling with the current energies? How's life for you?
I am just blown away at how many abrupt kind of turns, and it's sort of like so many things coming out of left field. But I feel like I think about sometimes if this was like 5 or 6 years ago and I had this many things kind of coming at me on a regular basis, I don't know that I would have been able to cope with it. So I just see myself and a lot of my clients, really, we're learning such resilience. And I think going into these conversations about the political climate, the environment, these storms and the weather and so on, we're all feeling this. Yeah. But I'm also really aware and so grateful at how much more, I want to say, like energy and ability to be flexible and adaptable that I've become. Like, I just think a few years ago, this stuff would have just knocked me out. How about you, Meg? Do you feel like you're coping in a way better?
I totally resonate with what you just said, Ashala. And that's something that I sometimes reflect on, is like so many things happening every single day. We've had that since pretty much 2020 with the whole situation that we've been through, that I totally resonate with what you're saying. Like, years ago would have given me a mental breakdown, maybe any one of these things, going through any one of these things. Yeah. So it's huge. And we're going to talk a bit about Pluto in today's show. Pluto going direct. That's going to be on Friday near the end of the week. And, Pluto is all about destruction, transformation, shadow work, the dark side of life. And so we can be feeling collectively and in our personal lives this Pluto influence very, very strong, where it can seem chaotic in a way. But as you said, Ashala, it's up leveling us to become even stronger and more. I love that word that you just said, adaptable, because that's a really good trait, to be adaptable, to be able to handle different situations and people. I think that's a very strong trait that a lot of us have developed in the recent years.
I believe we have, and when I look at how much the potential suffering that's going on with these storms, it's also the opportunity. Like, it's just amazing to witness what we can actually work with as humans when pushed to that necessity. What another degree of strength, resilience, and like I think our true strength, our true nature comes out in crises. And so there's something potent about all of this. I mean, I have a big question for you, Megan. You had asked me what do you want to focus on today? And I was like, is there something in the astrology that indicates, like, I hear what you're saying, Pluto, this destruction energy, it's been going in reverse, kind of like, pulling stuff from the past forward and so on. Do we see an end in sight to that, Meg? Do we, in terms of astrology, do we see, like, with the potential that these storms and stuff could die down in the near future?
Yeah, well, okay. Really good question, and a few different pieces there. So I think right now, so we're filming this Tuesday, October 8th, until November 18th. This is the last time in our lives Pluto is in Capricorn. And a lot of you guys that follow our content have heard me say that probably 100 freaking times. Okay.
Yeah.
We have been going through this cycle of the past 16 years of Pluto in Capricorn. And this has been the destruction of the matrix. Collectively, Capricorn owns the matrix, our current systems and structures of life. And also, wherever we have the sign of Capricorn in our personal astrology charts, we've been going through a huge transformation, cleansing, purging, maybe even crises, particularly for the Capricorns, right? So in terms of that, Pluto will be more easy on us starting November 18th, moving forward, when he moves into Aquarius full on for the next 20 years. That's a lot lighter of a frequency than Pluto and Capricorn that we've been going through.
Okay.
Now, the storms and the weather, and, Ashala and I were kind of speaking right before we went live, and I said, I'm a little bit scared to tell everybody what I think, because, sometimes as a mystic, it can be challenging. We have to talk about really challenging subjects, tough subjects. And there's some people out there in this field that will just tell you guys all the love and the light, and it's all positive. And that doesn't resonate with me. I think if we feel like there's an intense message that we have to share, an intense truth, it's our duty to do that. Right? So for me as a Western astrologer, we're actually looking at the whole next 2 years as a time where there's very intense weather events, particularly involving water, involving hurricanes, tropical storms, flooding, earthquakes. With Uranus and Taurus until 2026, that's the most unstable position for the weather, but also with Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, the oceans, the tropical storms, that amplifies it, and with Saturn can make it more challenging. So, and I've been saying for a while, if you live in an area that can be affected by those kind of water weather systems, to be prepared for those things, right? We can send our prayers, we can send our positive intentions, but also looking as above, so below at that astrological weather and going, okay, it's going to be an intense hurricane season. It's going to be an intense tropical storm season, right? And that's going to be for the whole next 2 years.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being straight up about that, Meg. I really appreciate it. And yeah, it goes into something that I've been seeing in predictions a lot. And I'm curious what's going to show up when I start looking at the cards today, because what I've seen in predictions a lot over the last few years, really since, 2020 and the big disruption and the turning point that we went through, is that it's going to be really valuable for us to have alternative home bases. Now, I know it's like people are like, yeah, whatever, I can't even afford my one home, much less two. I'm not talking about buying a, a timeshare somewhere and, luxuriating. I'm talking about like make plans with friends and family in different states, in different regions, right? So that if you've got a weather event in the center of the country, fires or some kind of environmental challenge, you have another place to go. And ideally, maybe even 2 or 3 options where it's like, okay, we're just going to start. And it doesn't have to be a big panic prep craziness, obviously, it's really always been a good idea to store food. That's never gone out of fashion as a human species. We kind of need to eat. So it's probably a good idea to store some food.
Yeah.
But this idea of having other places that you can get to pretty easily under most circumstances, especially with a little bit of warning, and that it can be something enjoyable. So instead of it being like, oh my gosh, I'm panicked and I got to run to the hills and I don't know where I'm going, if you've got like friends and family in different regions and you say, you know what, let's just start every year. We're going to go visit so-and-so and they're going to come see us. And we're going to have this little cycle going on as a pleasurable thing to begin with, and to just build community. And with the idea that, yeah, we might need each other in this way at some point. And if we start before the crisis hits, it's a lot easier to go, hey, I know exactly where we're going, right? I'm getting in the car and we're heading to my place because we've already been playing around with this idea and we've tried it out, right? And they're welcome to come to us. So that feeling is what I sense. I keep seeing it over and over again over the last few years in readings. And if we see the 3 of Pentacles show up, that's a card that I associate with that, like having different homes, or the 2 of Pentacles, having different options where you call home, where you could say, well, if push came to shove, I could live there for even a few months while I was getting reoriented and making new choices, right? Yeah.
I love that. I think that's so valuable, Ashala, what you just said, and it ties into the astrology too, because when we have Pluto and Aquarius transits throughout history, and we have that every about 240 years, because Pluto is very slow moving, a bunch of people move to different locations all over the world. So it's a period of mass migration when we have Pluto and Aquarius.
Oh my gosh, how cool is that?
So it makes sense with what you're saying. And, Aquarius is also, and I think we talked about it in our last show, or it might have been the show before, the importance of community, right? The importance of not just online, but in person, being connected to our life communities. Because when this stuff comes up, we can all be there for each other. Right?
Absolutely. And even in the matter of like, I'm just thinking about our conference and how people are going to get to meet in person. And, you'll meet somebody that you've been in the chats with, in the community with, and you can say, hey, you're just a couple of states away from me, or a couple of provinces or whatever. And we should like exchange and maybe go back and forth a couple times and meet each other's families. And by building that kind of solidarity and community, and maybe even starting some financial projects together, which I'm going to be talking about at our conference, and then doing a course about sovereign financial freedom is what I call it. And it's really about starting to think differently about how we get, work together with our finances. So when we're doing that in, meeting up in person and starting to just grow our community a small amount, or even let's say you're connected with someone else from the Beyond Mystic community that's in your local area, and you can literally be like, okay, the storm is coming. What are you doing? Oh, well, I'm doing this and that, and I've got these options to get out. Okay, can you stay in touch? Let's check in with each other. If I need help, I'll call you, whatever, right? Like, get your walkie-talkies out. Like, it just feels like we can start to create the sense of we're not alone in this.
Yeah.
And then somebody might be on higher ground and in a safer place, and they'll be like, you know what, come on up.
Right.
So
yeah, totally. 6 Fairy Light says Hurricane Beryl helped my neighbors and I build a better community.
So true. I mean,
right.
we don't ever want to call this in or wish it on anyone in
Mm,
any way, shape, or form. And yet it is part of our human experience. We're
yeah.
here in a physical world with physical bodies, and physical things happen to us here. And it's part of the reason we're here on this channel talking today is because our ancestors figured out how to work together and help each other. So we got an opportunity. This is a big incentive happening.
Yeah.
Get us reconnected, right?
Yeah. Do you think it would be good, Ashala, if we ask the cards, what is the higher purpose of these intense storms and weather events that are happening at this time?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do
Let's
it.
do it. I love it. I was just pulling for the cards when you said that. And I have my ideas about it, but it's so tricky, right? It's so tricky and easy to get into. I mean, we could talk for hours about, the weather manipulation and the direct energy weapons and on and on and on. Like, we all know there's a lot going on here, and it's really difficult to sort out what's what. But when it comes down to it, and not but and when it comes down to it at this point, it feels like while we're in the midst of this, it's probably ideal to focus on how to work together.
Yeah.
And there will come a time where we'll be looking at, unpacking a lot more of this.
Right.
When we're not in the immediate literal eye of the storm, right? So where am I going with this? What is the purpose, the higher purpose? What is the higher purpose? Yeah, well, look at this. So we are actually showing up as the emperor. So the emperor is the system. It is like, it's the corporate system, it's the cabal, it's these political and economic institutions that are sort of, they've been sitting on their high horse for a really long time. And this is about literally turning that all upside down. I keep getting there's something about bankrupting somebody or something. There's something about bankrupting the old system is what I'm hearing as well. So here we have, it's like we've been carrying around this, ball and chain or albatross around our necks for really generations. And this is it's like we're at the turning point where there's about to be a great exchange of, I don't necessarily mean just power in terms of government and authority. I mean like metaphysical power on this planet. Like the whole power broker dynamic is literally like what you were just saying, Meg. We're going out of that Capricorn energy into the Aquarian energy, and it's about to shift. We've got, this is sort of like waiting, being on hold, and then the Wheel of Fortune is like total different direction.
Yeah.
Totally going a new direction. Yeah, and then we've got the activator, this Queen of Wands. It's going to free up creativity. People are going to feel like, well, what the heck? If that old system is that far gone and we can't, I feel like talking to some of my clients that did lose things, property and possessions during that last storm, they're saying, gosh, it just really gets you in a different state of mind and heart where you're like, what am I hanging on to all this for? Like, I'm going to just sort of like jump into the fray here and really fight for what matters and not just try to sort of live small and stay in this neat little box. It's like we're going to be jumping outside the box, basically, coloring outside the lines. And it's going to bring out such beautiful humanity, people, neighbor help thy neighbor stuff. Like I'm just, the guys are just saying, we will be blown away. Yes, there's going to be a lot of looting and crime and all that kind of stuff, but by far that will be so outweighed by this rebirth of human spirit and the spirit of kindness and generosity. So that's that.
Wow. That's powerful.
It is.
That Emperor and Wheel of Fortune, like together at the start, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. And it's almost like we've been waiting for this. You ever had that? The only time I've lived through any sort of like, extreme weather events, there's been a couple. I was in the tornado in Alberta back in the 80s. And I was also we had a really, really big, devastating snowstorm on the coast of British Columbia in the late 90s. And the roads were closed. It was a state of emergency. We couldn't get out of our home for almost a week. Wow. And that was pretty extraordinary to really see what people did under that situation, under those circumstances. And it really did bring out, like, this person was suggesting, it really brought out the best in our community. So,
yeah. Wow, that's powerful. We got DSTJ. DSTJ says, it feels like a vampire to me that has been draining us all.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Have you ever noticed when you have something like that? Like my first thing was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to go to work. And it was actually kind of like, when you get snowed in, well, up here in Canada, we get what we call snow days and the kids don't have to go to school and everybody's like, oh, good. Right. Just like, and even if you go without power, we used to be like, oh my gosh, we're lighting all the candles. And it's like we're having this like, sleepover party or something. I'm not saying it's all sweetness, but it definitely brings out, there's some part of us that craves the realness of that.
Yeah, it's real. It's in the moment. Like you're saying, totally in the moment, real life. In some cases, like a survival mode that, like you were saying, Ashala, we're not wishing that upon anybody, right? Mm-hmm. But it is part of the human experience. There is intense situations a part of the human experience. We are in a physical world.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel to say too, totally, yeah, there's weather manipulation going on. Me personally, looking from the astrologer point of view, it's not all weather manipulation. Like this is also Mother Earth going through that shift into the age of Aquarius, going into that 5D. And that is the biggest shift she's ever gone through that, of course, is going to affect the weather. So yeah, there is total weather manipulation that can happen, but not everything is, from that, right? And I'm not saying these hurricanes are or aren't. I'm open to whatever, and I know the truth will be revealed in time, but it's so much happening all at the same time. And like you were saying, Ashala, good to be in the present moment, connected to our community to help us get through it, right?
You have this probably in astrology as well, Meg, where somebody will go through a personal crisis at a particular time and they'll say, oh, I wish I hadn't done that, or I wish I hadn't got in that relationship or taken that job or whatever. And then you look as an astrologer and you say, yeah, but you would have just done something else like that. Like regardless of, like, that's what I'm hearing you say. This is going to happen in some way, shape, or form. If it's whatever version you believe in or agree with, something is going to happen.
Right.
Kind of has to, because it's part of our evolution and it's scheduled for now, right?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So yeah, we're sending lots of prayers, positive energy out to everyone in those areas being affected. And it's also not just Florida, the Carolinas, Georgia. There's also back in Belgium, where we've been living the past 4 years, there's a huge storm about to hit Europe as well. So there's multiple storms all over the world, all at the same time, very intense things going on.
Yeah.
So we're in a super intense time, right? And something else that we want to bring up is someone brought up a question. We've got Delan 107 says, "Hello, beautiful souls. So happy you're taking questions. I would like to know if the November contest will be postponed, and also what should we be preparing for October 11th through November 18th, politically, financially?"
Okay.
So that's a lot.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Should we look at politically first?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. How was the question worded?
So the question was worded, I would like to know if the November contest will be postponed, and also what should we be preparing for October 11th through November 18th, politically and financially?
So will it be postponed, and what should we be preparing for?
Yes.
Politically. Let's start with politically. Okay. Will it be postponed? Okay. Well, oh yeah. So interesting. I feel like it's very interesting because earlier today I was looking at the storms and doing cards on the storms, and I was getting that the storms are going to affect the economy. Like there's going to be because different areas are going to be declared a state of emergency, that is going to put so much pressure on the economic systems that it kind of forces some kind of, let's just call it some sort of reset, right? So it's almost like I'm getting one affects the other, affects the other, affects the other, but it does feel like it maybe starts with the weather. So it could be that the weather creates this disruption where a lot of places are so impacted that the whole political system just kind of starts to grind to a halt in a way. And that, of course, is also going to affect the economy. But look at this. It's like there's something going to emerge from this. So 10 weeks, if I were to call that 10 weeks, so that takes us into the rest of October, all of November. So into sort of like right the time we're talking about the end of November, or even into December, right? Into mid-December. And this is a very positive card. This Six of Swords, moving out of troubled water, is a very positive card. So something about our focus on the relief provided for people who've gone through a lot of devastation, these different areas that are going to be impacted by the after effects and the effects of these storms, that's going to alter like the delay. Right? I think we were saying, Janine said today something about a delay. I get a delay as well.
Yeah.
And possibly even into almost like Christmas time.
Wow.
Yeah. So something is being postponed, but it's giving us more time to bring a lot of these important truths and information forward. Like it's just this continual, almost like rolling out of different timelines is what I'm feeling. And we're going to see, the instability that's really a combination of the political, like it's almost like we're trying to say, political left or right, trying to just kind of this or that, the fight between the two sides. And all of a sudden it's like a little bit of who cares, right? It's sort of like, who cares? we're all in this together now. Like there's a lot of it's so interesting because we've been looking to the skies for the great disclosure about off-worlders and stuff, and seeing that as the thing that would kind of unify us, at least energetically, and that we sort of open our minds, that a lot of the mainstream people kind of open their minds. It feels like this, what these storms are doing, the impact of these weather events has the same effect. It has the same effect of kind of unifying. It's sort of like people are less charged on a sort of a larger scale. Everybody's like, let's deal with that later. Let's just do our best to come together through this time of challenge. So I certainly feel like there'll be a delay. I feel like there may be a reset or a restart around Christmas time. And over these next few weeks, it's going to be a lot about really just helping people. So we were talking about, the devastation that we could see. And I mean, I have to just say, to keep it in perspective, I'm not seeing like the worst case scenario here, but it's enough that it kind of supersedes some of the political conflict.
Right. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That does make a lot of sense. And I was seeing, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that, I think it's North Carolina, that so many people have had like a devastation that they won't be able to vote now. So there's a bunch of people that won't even be able to vote. And, if that happens somewhere else as well, or other places too, and not just because of that, but just throwing that out there in the pot, like, it makes sense what you're saying, Ashala, that there's, needing to support people becomes the number one thing, rather than this other thing that we could do at another time. Right?
A little bit. And then let's look at the financial impact of that. I mean, I just have to say, I'm pretty happy about this 10 of Cups. It does feel like we are going to have to get back to the business at hand.
Yes.
And keep the information coming, keep communicating, keep moving in a good direction with the truths.
Right.
And not just kind of get lost in this, because I think people will be in a bit of an altered state, honestly. So it does feel like we want to acknowledge the priority of that first, but also stay on track with our larger journey here.
Right.
Okay, let's look at the financial implications. And yeah, unfortunately, as humans, I think tragedy tends to put our values and problems back into balance. Yeah. Okay, so thank you, camera. Wow. Okay, that's weird, because I actually just had that thought as I was shuffling.
Wow.
Yeah. Whoa. Oh my Lord. Okay, this is a bit surprising. Okay, so I was getting almost that some of what's happening, the combination of all these things happening at the same time, the politics, the economy, and the weather, it's like it's a stimulus. There's some kind of stimulus about it all. Like, it's going to stimulate the reserves, is what I'm hearing. And I don't know a lot about that, maybe some of you know more about that, but it's kind of like, yeah, I'm hearing it stimulates the reserves, and that people will be demanding, like all people will be in agreement of what the priorities are.
Wow.
So it feels like it is an opportunity. It's a big sort of pardon the pun, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but it is a kind of a perfect storm in the sense that it's all happening at the same time.
Mm.
And whether that was planned or exactly what you were saying, Meg, that this is what's scheduled, we wouldn't be able to get away from it. It would be some other thing if it wasn't this.
Right.
It does really feel like it opens up the possibility to open up the reserves and create a great stimulus of actual, I don't know what this is, if this is reserves of gold or silver or what it is, but it feels like it actually puts real wealth back
Whoa.
into the hands of the people. So something like that.
That's powerful. Wow. And it's so interesting too. Then those are such powerful cards again. That, we're at the end of Pluto and Capricorn, and Pluto doesn't go into Aquarius until 10 days. No, sorry, not 10 days. The election is supposed to be November 5th. Less than 2 weeks. There's still about 2 weeks to go of that Pluto and Capricorn transit from the election date.
Aha.
We're trying to move into the future, but we're still in the past. We're still sorting things out from the past of the old systems, and there's still things that we need to look at.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Like, it feels like we're going to be going back, but thinking forward.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe thinking forward a little bit more realistically than we have been. Because this Queen of Pentacles, she's very grounded, right? And the Strength card. And yeah, big upgrades of making good choices. Like,
Right.
you see, these cards could be like when we look at choice and judgment, and they could be worrisome cards, but they're so well aspected with this Page of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles and Strength. Like, they're well aspected. So it is an up leveling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is super powerful. Wow. Yeah. And Prometheo 5 says, imagine a focused humanity.
Yeah.
I love that because, yeah, all the chaos and all the different stories and all the, divide and conquer, it separates us. It makes us not focused. And if we could all be focused on, like you were saying, Ashala, those things that matter the most in the present moment at hand, wow, the whole world's going to change.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting because our collective guides are kind of coming in, infusing my awareness right now with this idea that we have had a lot of crises on the planet in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've had like world wars and large scale revolutions and but in any other time, everyone in their little bubble has kind of relegated it to, it's easy to say good guys, bad guys, because you're in this little bubble, which is like, we just have to fight this war and get it over with and get the bad guys out of here because then everything will be good again. But right now we're seeing, because we're globally connected through our media and our internet and, good, bad, or ugly, we're connected to knowing people in different parts of the world. We're able to communicate with them in real time, get real news from our friends and family that are in different parts of the world. And there's no way to suppress the awareness that something much larger is happening, right? Like when it's other times throughout history, it's nobody's known, oh gosh, this is actually going on all over the place. Like
Mm.
even as recent as World War II, when there was different things going on in different, they were having a hard time even knowing what was happening in different countries.
Yeah.
And now we know, like at an instant, and it's not just through different slanted media narratives. Like lots of us know people in different, like you're saying, Meg, you know people in Europe,
Yeah.
and these people, you can talk to them, you can, have a video chat with them tonight and find out what's actually going on the ground where they are.
Yeah.
So because we're so connected, it's not just going to be this black and white battle anymore. It's going to be, we're all going, oh, right. This is a big awakening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big fat awakening.
A big fat awakening.
Yeah. And that judgment card.
Yeah. Yeah. Go big or go home. I mean, what does that mean, right? Go big. Well, we have to step out of these coffins or boxes of stereotype, of small versions of who we are, of limitation, of fear, the matrix boxes.
Yeah.
That have kind of imprisoned us. And we each individually have to take responsibility for that liberation. And so many of you have been living that courage over these last few years. They're saying, gosh, yeah, we're just getting started. It's really, we're going to go, and what we can do with that courage, like the remark that you just put up there, what we can do with that. What could we do if we were all collectively focused?
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
That is really, really amazing. Let's see. Shall we do readings for each of the elemental groups based on Pluto going direct in Capricorn for the last time in our lives? And see what comes through. Great.
That makes it sound almost like, oh, well, that's not so bad. And like, gosh, we want to make the most of it, right? We want to make sure we really get the lesson. And
yeah. And I'd just like to say, you guys, before we do this, just really quick, Ashala, that with 6 planets retrograde right now, Pluto is going to go direct on Friday, so that'll only be 5. This is a time of not forcing anything forward. And really, like we were talking about, look, we're forward focused. We know the future's coming, Pluto and Aquarius, Age of Aquarius, but there's still things we need to clear up in the present moment. So not being hard on yourself if you're trying to do things and it's not working the timeline you want it to. Huge time of purging and release of this whole past 16-year transit of Pluto and Capricorn. So I'll just bring up here our fire signs. For those of you who don't know, this is our Aries, Leos, and Sagittarius.
Okay, and this is going to be, Meg, for the next couple of weeks, right? Which will take us over the
This
moon.
is going to be the next 6 weeks, 5 weeks.
Okay, the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, with Pluto back in Capricorn for the last
Pluto
time.
back in Capricorn.
Correct.
Okay. Fire signs, the next 5 weeks. Fire. Okay, so there's a little bit of like, fire signs are really amazing at act first, think later. Act before you think, right? Instead of think before you act. And I feel like that's actually not bad for you, fire signs, over this next 5 weeks. But you want to go back after you act and analyze it. Why did I do that? Right? It's like you're going to actually get a lot out of just give yourself free rein. I mean, this is the most King of Wands. He's the most out there, like total freedom, right? We used to call this Mr. T card. And so it's like, yeah, act before you think, or speak before you think, or whatever, right? It's like, but instead of shaming that about our fire signs, we just want them to mine it. And what I mean by that is to go back and look at your action and go, huh, that's really interesting. Why was I so fired up about that? What did that show me? And you're just going to do a little bit of self analysis, because you're going to actually learn something by watching what lights you up, what makes you mad, or what makes you motivated. Like, watch your passion, your motivation, and learn from it. And then take that and make a plan with what you're going to do with that. So it's kind of like act, observe, and then decide, plan, strategize.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you very much, Ashala, for that. And we've got our fire signs out there are having Pluto go direct in Capricorn for the last time in our lives in earth elemental houses. So that's interesting, because fire signs, you're fired up. Like Ashala was saying, you're creative, you're go-getters, you're assertive, sometimes impulsive. But with Pluto back in those earth houses, there's something to get grounded about. There's something to maybe review or reflect on or complete that might not necessarily be fun, right? That might not necessarily be fire and we're going ahead and we're stimulated. This could be like spirits saying, things like, contracts, documents, things that have to do with the home, right?
Contracts. Yeah. Writing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Work issues, resource issues, income, what we've held as responsibilities. So it may feel, fire signs, like you're being, over the next 5 weeks, kind of dragged down, not in a negative way, but like the universe is bringing you to the ground, the earth, because there's some very important things to take care of at the end of this Pluto and Capricorn transit. And for a lot of you, it will be around work, your work commitments, what you've held as responsibilities work-wise, or just in general with responsibilities. And huge epiphanies can be coming in about some of those basic things that we might consider boring, right?
Oh, perfect. That's what I would call these two together, epiphanies. So observing your fire and then having epiphanies about it. That's perfect way of saying that, Meg.
Yeah. And for Aries, it'll very much be about work. For Leos, it'll very much be around your health and day-to-day work, and Saggies around your values and income streams as well.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah. Very cool. So, okay, let's get into our earth signs.
Okay. Earth signs over the next 5 weeks. Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Okay. I mean, that's a very interesting 3 cards in a row. For some reason, I'm trying to think of a metaphor of how to describe it. And it's a funny metaphor that's coming to my mind. Please excuse me for this, but I can't think of any other way right now. It's almost like you're having fun. You're like, celebrating or in high spirits. And then all of a sudden, like, you step in some dog poop or something. It's like, you're kind of like, oh, where did that come from? I wasn't expecting that. But it's almost like it's just, there's some really deep, gross stuff is going to be like suddenly right there. And it could be a little bit like gross, like when you step in it.
Yeah.
But then it's sort of like, you're just like, oh, okay, I'm going to clean that up. And then I'm back to being in good spirits again. It's very, very, very curious that the devil card would be pressed between these two, and there is a little bit of energy when you do 3 where it's past, present, future. And so it's like there's something about, I think we talked about this last week, that there's a bit of a freedom coming for earth signs. They're starting to feel a little lighter, especially Capricorn, right? Like after all that heavy, 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 heavy work, but there's still the odd little poopy pile. And they're saying, don't freak out. Don't freak out. It's okay. Like you'll clean it up, and then you'll get back to feeling kind of in good spirits and pretty empowered. So weird.
That is weird, but makes a lot of sense, Ashala.
Okay, tell me.
Because, we've had Pluto in Capricorn, and that is an earth sign, right? And Pluto, I know the devil card can be associated with actually the sign of Capricorn, and Saturn, I would also associate Pluto with it, right? Okay. And this is, for the earth signs in your...
Yeah. Somebody said, don't forget to wipe.
Don't forget to wipe.
Wipe your feet. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, it's been a lot for the earth signs the past 16 years with Pluto and Capricorn, in particular for the Capricorns. Okay. So this is a period of, there is a lot to celebrate. Okay. It's back in it's been in your fire elemental houses, but I don't know why, Ashala, I'm hearing the word addictions very strong for the earth sign. And interesting that, we can associate the water houses more with addictions, but I'm just feeling intuitively like the earth signs, maybe some of the earth signs have had addictions to partying or something they've considered fun, or a romantic lover that isn't serious, kind of like these fiery energies. And it's time to let that shit go. Like with the devil card coming up, with Pluto back in this placement for the last time in your lives. And it feels like highs and lows too. Like they can be feeling high, and then all of a sudden realizing, oh my God, there's this pattern or this thing that.
Yeah. It's a real juxtaposition.
Yeah. Yeah. So it may be a little all over the place, earth signs, but go with that flow of releasing the things that you consider to be fun, but are actually toxic and don't serve you. Right? Like if there's a lover, the 5th house of Leo rules lovers for the Virgos. If there's a lover that you've been having a lot of fun with, but you want a serious committed relationship with, right? But they're not ever going to go into that serious place. Maybe it's time to let that go. Right? Just as an example.
Yeah.
So, that's for you earth signs. So we're sending lots of love to you guys. And okay, we've got before we get into the other signs, we got some special guests that
I just saw that
in the backstage. Speaking of spontaneity.
Did you know about this, Meg? I didn't know.
No, I did not. So okay. Bring them onto the stage here, and look who it is.
Hi, you guys. Wow.
Hey guys. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. We were watching your show and we said, hey, why don't we go say hello?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Janine, did you just hear that about earth signs stepping in the poopy pile?
That's a good one.
Yeah, right?
I can't wait.
Oh, we haven't got to my sign yet. I'm nervous. I'm sweating. Yeah.
You guys, we're just talking about Pluto going direct and all the crazy things that are going on. And we're feeling really united in the live chat. A lot of people feeling inspired, releasing, a little bit scared, but we know that we're going into a more positive place. So,
Are you talking about October 17? When are we going direct?
We didn't even get to that. We were going to talk. We didn't even get to that. We're talking about Pluto going direct on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, in Capricorn until November 18th. Lots of different dates.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have 2 minutes before the other show. We're doing the Sending Ravens special. So, guys, by all means, keep watching the As Above, So Below show. And when you're done over there, come and see us. We're doing a special show with Carla tonight from Ascension Organites. We're showing some brand new swag for the Sending Ravens boutique. You guys don't want to miss that. While Janine is here, though, did you guys, either Janine, Meg, or Ashala, do you guys want to ask Janine a question? Maybe we should do a little quick poll before we go. What do you think?
Oh,
Yeah, that sounds really
yeah,
good.
I mean, I'm sure that the air signs would be honored for you to maybe pull for them on the next 5 weeks with Pluto going direct in Capricorn. What can they expect?
That would
Huh?
be especially nice for me because I'm an air sign and I'm biased.
Okay, so I got to do it old school way. This was the
Yep.
first card.
Ooh.
We've got the sun, but it's interesting because it's alongside an information card. Okay, so information feels like the big key for air signs. Okay, they're going to get all kinds of information drops. They're going to probably dream very specific dreams. So watch your dreams. I feel like a lot of clarity with that sun coming first, and then the Ace of Swords. So clarity, and also it's not time to keep quiet. So air signs, you're going to need to get the pen out and or get on the computer board and or get on your videos if that's what you do, or start talking to your friends, because talking about what you know, because there's a lot of charisma with the sun. And I feel like it's a time when you might be listened to more than usual, or could really get your point across more than usual. This was in the background here, the Eight of Wands, which is like you've been collecting a lot of spiritual information coming, so lots of drops. So now it's time to share what you know. It's definitely not time to keep quiet. Even if you want to be private about it, you can put it out there in ways that you can make memes about it. There's ways you can get your knowledge out there, even if you don't want to be front face on a camera, whatever, right? You don't want your name to it, but there's ways you can do it, right? So here we've got, this was in the middle. So that's our, the King of Cups. Now, he's well aspected with the sun and the ace next to him. He's a really advanced healer. But I feel like the healing you're going to do is through communication. Okay, and using your charisma and or light right now to shed light on information. That's how you're going to be healing. So it may not be like yeah, and then right underneath it's another sword card. So it's all about what you're saying, thinking, putting out there, and sharing verbally, intellectually, and or with either spoken word or visuals to go with it. But just communicating your ideas, because you've been getting so many downloads. It's really important to share. So that's what I'm getting for the air signs.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you, Janine.
Thank you, Janine. That was really good. Hey, guys, Ashala, Meg, congratulations on the success of the As Above, So Below show. You guys are averaging 40 or 50,000 views between all the networks here every week. So when the comments are through the roof positive. So big congratulations to both of you for this show. And thank you, everyone watching the show, also supporting Meg and Ashala here on the network. Really appreciate all of you guys. So again, later on, when you're done here with Ashala and Meg, please do come and join us on the Sending Ravens special broadcast this evening. Of course, you can watch that on repeat later on tonight. We have Carla on, who's going to be showing us some really, really cool new swag. So check that out a little bit later. Big thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks, Meg. Thanks, Ashala. We'll see you guys later.
Guys, lovely to see you.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Awesome.
That's so cool.
So cool. So yeah, guys, be sure to go join them over on Rumble right after we're done our show for that special Sending Raven show with Carla, who we all love to see Carla when she pops up on the shows. So okay, didn't get to tell Janine before she went off there that what she said made total freaking sense for the air signs.
Oh.
You know, we know, of course, the air signs rule sharing information, intelligence, divine downloads, right? But they're having Pluto go direct in Capricorn for the last time in our lives in the water houses. So Janine was talking about spiritual information, making memes, paying attention to your dreams. That is really big for all of the air signs, in particular the Aquarians with Pluto direct in their 12th house of Pisces.
Wow.
So spiritual downloads, spiritual or even creative information, and very important ones, as Janine got, was it the Ace of Swords, Ashala?
Yeah, she got the Ace of Swords, the Page of Swords. And that's interesting because I had the Page of Swords with our fire signs as well. And it was a lot about observation and recording things. And that's what she was saying as well.
Right. So paying attention to the information that's coming through air signs, and you may be processing a lot emotionally over the next 5 weeks, maybe crying out of nowhere, having intense dreams out of nowhere. Good time to be doing healing work, therapeutic work in whatever realms resonate with you guys to get through the last of this very intense transit. So we love you, air signs. And now we're going to move to, last but not least, our water signs.
Okay, let's have a look.
And this is our Cancers, Scorpios, and Pisces.
Okay. Interesting. Wow. Wow. Okay. So, water signs, stabilization. I want to say like grounding and coming fully into the present moment. Something about really taking time to create a sense of safety. And this is interesting. The Hanging Man there is a little bit of suspense with the Hanging Man. But it's also like knowing that you're being prepared for something. There's a preparedness. It's like you're waiting, ready. And in the potential future is a fire sign, the Knight of Fire, which is the spiritual warrior. So there's something about stabilizing yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and kind of patiently waiting this period out and feeling the fire building inside of you, feeling the energy building.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. Very curious. Let's see what we got for the water signs in the astrology. So you guys are having Pluto go direct in Capricorn the next 5 weeks in the air elemental.
Okay.
Relationships, social ability, and information coming through. So did you want to say something there, Ashala?
Yeah, that's really interesting because this feels almost like leading the way. And even though we would think that there would be this energy of like just kind of connecting and talking and communicating and sharing and all of those things, it feels almost more like you're leading the pack is what I keep hearing. Because this is, remember, I was just kind of blown away when I turned it over. It's very, like if I got this in someone's reading, I would say you're going to be like called to lead whatever area this is. Like if it's your work or if it's in a relationship or if it's in communication, it's leading with almost like a spiritual ethics. So it's kind of a little bit, the guides are saying like, this is what you've been waiting for. This is what you've been preparing for.
Wow.
Is this time where you're going to be leading in these areas of relationship and communication. Very interesting.
That makes total sense, because the water signs do rule, as we've been talking about a lot in today's show, spirituality, divine intervention. When crisis hits, what do people do? They pray. Interesting. Interesting. Even if people aren't necessarily spiritual, they get on their knees, they pray, they try to go to the higher power, which is what the water signs are all about. So there may be a lot of people, relationships starting to lean on the water signs as well, or people looking for information from the water signs, but also you yourself, water signs, doing internal work around who you're attracting, what information you let in, your own sense of value in social ability. So it makes sense that you say they're leading the pack.
They're leading the pack, and they're actually somehow really grounding themselves, getting ready for that. Like there's something very almost like look after yourself first. So when we're talking about the weeks, I get almost like maybe that first 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
There's a lot of self-care. There's a lot of preparation because you will be asked to come out in front and lead the way.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful. So no pressure. Water signs.
But it's kind of like it's not, this isn't, you can't fake this, right? And I think about my water sign friends, and that's one thing I have to say about all of them. There's no faking it. They don't fake anything. Like what you see is what you get. They are like deep and real, and more often than not, in my experience, compared to a lot of the other signs, pretty humble.
Right.
So this is the time where it's kind of like saying, who's leading here? And then, oh, I am.
Right.
Yeah.
Which can sometimes be uncomfortable for the water signs.
Aha.
Right. But some of the best leaders are the ones that don't even necessarily want to be the leader.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So cool. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for today's show. We're going to finish up so that whoever would like to go join the Sending Ravens special show with JC, Janine, and Carla can go tune in over there on the Beyond Mystic Rumble channel. Any closing remarks, Ashala? Anything you want, words of wisdom you want to share with everybody?
Again, I want to just tune in with the people who are in any part of the world right now that are experiencing the crisis of extreme weather. And our prayers are with you, our thoughts are with you, and I see this opportunity for us to come together and support each other during these times. And I look forward to hearing more about that and how people have become, really generous in their spirit as a result of these challenges. And we'll see you, all our blessings and prayers with you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes, we'll see you in 2 weeks. So love you guys so much. We also want to mention, go check out the Red October sale on the Beyond Mystic Insider Access Pass. 50% off that Insider Access Pass with code IAP50 until October 15th. So we love you guys, and we'll see you next time in 2 weeks. Love you.
Bye-bye.